If you've not seen any of my other videos, here's a synopsis of some. I've covered topics like getting the license and the registration that you have to get through the manufacturer on these rubber rafts, because you do have to register them if you put a motor on them. One of the handiest things I've added are these clips that very quickly come off and on, so I don't have to worry about losing any parts or screwing something in. I use those multiple places. I've even used it now to attach the motor to the raft itself in case for some reason something falls off. I don't want to go to the bottom of the lake or river. I've done a review on this extension handle. There's an update. I used a different kind of foam in here and it has worked very well. You need a softer foam than what I originally started with. And I've done a review on the Hangkai 3.6 horsepower outboard motor. And I will say you can still get these through eBay, but you leave off the word Hangkai, just put in outboard motor 3.6 HP and you'll get a list of suppliers. I'm going to customize the side of my motor, I think, with some decals and things. I've taken off the 3.6. It's not really 3.6 horsepower.
To verify the engine horsepower, I went to the Hangkai website, and if you'll scroll down, you'll see all the different models. And here's the 3.6 horsepower, and you can clearly see it states it's 55 cc's. So then I went to Google, and I simply typed in 50 cc's to horsepower, found a location that will provide that. I entered the cc volume or amount and got the answer of 1.6 horsepower.
So I'm going to do a speed test on it. Another thing I had is that it was kind of jumping when I was running it on my first test, and I think I need to put a vent hole in the gas cap or loosen it when I'm on the water. I think to start with I'll loosen it just a little bit. It has one in it, but maybe it's not functioning properly. So that's just a little summary, and if you do buy one of these motors, you need to really research and find out what you need to do. The instructions are not clear. You have to put gear oil in where the propeller is. There is none. And you have to do a thorough break-in of the motor, and that'll take about 10 or 12 hours. Do not run it at full speed, and do not use an ethanol blended fuel. Just use non-ethanol fuel. If you do not have that option, there's a supplement that you can buy and put in the fuel that apparently will help that, so you could use ethanol. But if you use ethanol blended fuel, it can tend to gum up your carburation system, so I've been told, but I know it'll also eat up the fuel lines, the plastic or rubber fuel lines going from the fuel tank into the carburetor. There's a lot of little things. Check out some of my other videos. When I bought these extension posts, I also picked up an end cap at Lowe's for like $1.50, so I don't have raw metal there. Then I did paint these, as you can see in here. I'm just going to use a zip tie, and it does hold it real steady, so we're going to give that a shot. The other thing that I did that I have not mentioned yet, and I'll cover eventually, is I put some insulation inside the motor housing. So what I've done, I don't think you're going to be able to see very well, but this is about a little more than a 1/4 inch thick automotive sound deadening insulation. On this side, I guess I still have some styrofoam. That was my first attempt, but that worked pretty well too. But all around here I've insulated the top, around here, anywhere that there wasn't a vent. I've also put it underneath. I took the fuel tank off, and then I can get into here, and you can see how thick it is right there. Then where the exhaust is, I put as far down in there as I could heating duct, that metal heating duct tape, several layers, because I don't want that to get in there and melt that and heat it up too much. So we'll see if that works out. I do know that the motor itself sounds a little bit quieter. So that's just a thought. Automotive sound deadening foam. It's also heat resistant. So that's it. Oh, one other little thing that I've done that has seemed to have helped is put some beeswax on the starter cord. As you can see, it's pretty small, but the beeswax gives it some slipperiness to it and helps it not wear out. So again, subscribe to my channel and I'll keep you up to date on any repairs that I do on this motor and little tips and tricks. Okay, real quick, check this out. This was my Intex Excursion 4 storage bag, and I knew it was lightweight. I didn't think it'd last long. It did rip, and then the zipper pulls both just tore out. So I went to Amazon, my trusted source, $27.99. Just got this. I should have unpacked it for you, but it has my raft in it, and it's much bigger. It's made by K-Cliffs, K-C-L-I-F-F-S. $27.99. It's got storage pockets. It's got a steel zipper pull. These are still nylon. Nice heavy canvas. A lot of pull straps. There's enough room in here that I'll actually be able to put in a lot of my supplies. I think even the paddles would go in here, and my tackle box for that matter. So I know the pump will, so I think that's going to be an investment well made. Actually, I already have the pump and the raft in here. So that's the latest. Again, that's K-Cliffs extra large duffel bag. The measurements are actually, let me look and see here. It says 42 by 20 by 20. Plenty big for my raft. As you can see, I have the extension poles added. I'm going to use some zip ties temporarily to hold those on. Then, depending on how that works, I'll adjust to something else, but I think this will work as a test. I may double it up when I get to the water test. But it's really added some stability. I can push down, and you can see it moves the boat, and actually I can lift the entire raft. So there's only about 3 inches that it goes down before it actually lifts the front of the boat, so I think that's good. Next thing is get it out on the water. going to try and do a speed test. Going upstream. Not very fast. I'm only getting 2 miles an hour. But it doesn't sound like my motor is running full speed either. So, this may not be an accurate representation. The current, I mean there is a current, but it's not all that swift. So I'll check that out and get back with it later. Okay, going with the current, against the wind, I'm getting 6 and 7 miles an hour.
A brief summary of the trip. First of all, it's easier if you leave the raft out in the water and get the dolly under it. However, being alone and there was a little bit of a current, I decided to do it on land. I also had inadvertently overfilled the floor, and that made it so the wood floor did not go down into the compartment quite right, and I think maybe it made for a little baffle under the boat that put extra drag on it. So next time I'll make sure I install the floor correctly. And next time I might take my brother-in-law with me so I have 2 people to get the things in and out. The other thing is that the motor itself still was too low, and you can see in these video clips that it's just pulling under a little bit too much. Thanks to a subscriber who suggested that I attach the wooden motor mount extension poles to the wood floor, which I believe I can do that. So in the next week or so I will make that correction, and hopefully that will pull that motor up just a little bit. It's still pulling under the boat a little bit. Plus, I'm a little too heavy to be in the boat by myself. I'm working on that, trying to lose a little weight. But 2 to 3 miles an hour upstream is pretty slow. Although the current must have been pretty quick, because looking at this video, it looks like I'm moving along pretty good if you look at the water. It would be great for a large pond or a small lake, but moving water, not so good so far. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate those of you that subscribe. I'm at about 100 subscribers. I just need 900 more. Thanks again.